Tom Brady banged up. What does that mean for the Bucs? We'll talk about it here on the Wednesday edition of Locked On NFL.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, folks? Welcome to another edition of Locked On NFL. I am Tony Wiggins, and that man is the smiling James Rapien up in Cincinnati. I'm sitting in Jacksonville, but we're bringing you Locked On NFL today, as we do every single Wednesday. Haven't been together for a couple of weeks, but we are back together now, and we're going to talk about it. Today's show, obviously, is sponsored by our friends over at LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidate you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/locked on NFL. What's up, Jamie?
What's going on, Tony? It's good to see you. I
know
missed seeing your face. I've thought about you a lot over the past couple of weeks, and I can't wait to dive into our many topics set for today, starting with the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Wait. We had to pause. You know the little pause in there because the GOAT's in the news for a lot of stuff. One of those things we ain't gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about football.
Yes. Definitely keeping it on football.
Right.
And according to Ian Rapoport of NFL Network, Tom Brady dealing with a minor rotator cuff injury. And he's not expected to miss time, is expected to be a little, limited in practice, but should be able to go. And so you think about this, you think about how the Bucs now are 2-2. They certainly looked human. Their defense, which was unbeatable for 3 weeks, got taken to the woodshed by the Kansas City Chiefs. They just beat up, and not just Patrick Mahomes, on the ground as well. How concerned are you right now about the Buccaneers, given what they're dealing with Tom Brady and given what we saw on Sunday?
Super concerned for a number of reasons. One is personal, because I like Todd Bowles and I like Byron Leftwich. And I had a gut feeling, man, that after being hot for 2 years, that this was going to be the thing, that Byron Leftwich is going to end up being like Airbnb. He's not going to be hot anymore, because now that Bruce Arians is gone and all of these other things are happening with the team, the injuries along the offensive line, the defense losing some key parts, losing a few coaches, on the staff, and then Brady just getting a little bit older and having bad luck with injuries like old men do. And I'm concerned from that standpoint. And I'm also concerned from the standpoint of when he is dealing with personal issues now, along with the health issues of the team, what's their focus going to be like? What is their focus moving forward as a unit? Can they get it all back together? Can this be? See, when this happened in New England, you had that whole machine. You had the Belichick and all of it and the continuity. I don't know if they have all of that stuff to lean on, or have all of those years as being good as something they can fall back on and say, we know we're going to regroup. I think it's going to be tough.
I get it. I do. And I think that, man, if there was any time to go against Brady and go against, what he's built, what he's done, it would be now. I mean, because one, I can't believe on the broadcast they didn't mention the injury from the jump. I mean, that sack fumble, when he gets hit, the first thing I was thinking was, I think it was incomplete. Regardless, though, the first thing I was thinking was, oh, man, he's hurt. Like, this is serious. At the same time, in this is the point where I would look at it and I would say, all right, 2-2. They're dinged up. Their defense certainly looked vulnerable against the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes, man, that pass was just insane. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire might still be running because the Bucs defense just could not stop him. But let me just read you their schedule, Mr. Tony Wiggins. They play the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday, followed by Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we're going to talk about coming up, followed by Baker Mayfield. Wait, is Sam Darnold going to start? Oh, no, he's not healthy. It's still Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. Those are their next 3 games. So as doom and gloom as it sounds, we could be talking about a 5-2 Tampa team going into a Thursday night matchup week 8 against the Ravens on a short week. They are at home. Then they get the Rams. And then it's Seahawks, your Saints, who we will certainly talk about. I can't wait to talk about your Saints. The point is there's a lot of winnable games on the schedule. And Tom Brady, very rarely is he playing his best ball in September, early October. So they've had some weird wide receiver luck. They've had some weird injury luck now with Brady. Their defense looked vulnerable, all of those things. And despite all of that, I'm saying they are still right there with the class of the NFC, and I expect them to be there at the end of it. I'm not going to overreact, even though they're 2-2 and their 45-year-old quarterback is injured.
Well, so let me tell you why I feel a little bit differently about that. They can win games. Winning games, they're going to win games. The Bucs are going to be favored. They would be favored. There's 31 other teams in the league. They would be favored in at least 27 games if they played anybody on a neutral field. The issue is, can they be healthy enough and win enough games to compete with those other teams you mentioned? After you mentioned those bad teams, you mentioned 2 straight teams that they probably won't be favored against. So with Tom Brady, the standard is always
against the Ravens. They'll be favored against the Ravens at home.
I don't know. I tell you what. Well, okay. So watch this though. Listen.
I'm watching
the standard Brady has had, and the standard the Bucs have had, at least for the last 2 years, is winning a Super Bowl. So we're not measuring him by the same thing that we're measuring like Cleveland or Jacksonville or Cincinnati by. We're measuring Tom Brady by whether or not he's able to win the title. And to do that, you have to beat good teams back to back to back to back. So the schedule that has those easier games, and I hate saying that because really there's no easy game in NFL. They can win the game, but it doesn't mean that they can actually get healthy and avoid more injuries, because everyone in the NFL tackles. They're all violent. The worst team in the league doesn't let you come in there. It's not like an NBA where you can rest Kawhi Leonard because you know you're going to beat Atlanta or Charlotte without him, and you're going to win that game. You can't rest people.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. How many NFC teams are you really putting ahead of the Bucs? If the playoffs started Sunday, are you really picking? You picking the Eagles?
Yes.
Okay, so you're picking the Eagles. You picking the Cowboys? Oh, please pick the Cowboys.
No, they just beat them 19-3.
There we go. All right, and they would beat them by even more now, even though the Cowboys are 3-1, and good for them. Cooper Rush. The Giants, the worst 3-1 team in history. I already answered that. No, you're
right. You're right. I wouldn't pick the Giants, but I will tell you this about the Giants.
Oh
no, I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
Yeah,
that game. They're physical and they're nasty, and the game's always ugly, right? So here's the thing: if you have to play the Giants the week before you have to play somebody else, that's a hard physical game for an old team. That's the point I'm making. The Giants, like, they're gonna beat them, but the Giants they're gonna play the game in a phone booth. They're gonna fight like it's a back alley brawl in Brooklyn. That's the point I'm making about the cumulative effect of football when you're talking about an older team.
San Francisco, the Rams.
Right now,
Cardinals.
Right now, I'd favor the 49ers to beat them. I would not favor the Rams to beat them, and I would not favor the Cardinals to beat them.
Yeah, I wouldn't favor the 49ers to beat anyone besides the Rams, because apparently the Rams get all soft when they play San Francisco. What a ridiculous game that was, but they covered that on yesterday's show.
I'd favor
the Vikings.
Green Bay no, not Minnesota, but Green Bay I would. I'll tell you right now.
All right.
I favor Green Bay to beat them.
I wouldn't. Did you watch Green Bay? Don't make me call Bailey Zappe.
No,
don't make me call him to throw touchdowns.
No, you're right. I did. You know what? Didn't I just watch Green Bay? I watched Green Bay this week, and I watched them the week before that. And what did Green Bay do the week before that? They beat Tampa.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I can't get no
Tampa. Who was playing? I was playing receiver. Literally, they signed a 5'9" guy named Cole Beasley,
and you were also playing receiver for Green Bay too. And you were playing receiver. I still can't name Green Bay's receiver.
Okay, can't name Green Bay's receiver. Who are they missing?
Nobody. But that's the point. They ain't missing nobody, and there's no hope that nobody's gonna walk through that door unless they sign Odell Beckham Jr. The thing is that's my point. They ain't have nobody playing either.
They have a weapons problem, but that's just their team. All right, the Bucs are built around it. Look, you're lower on the Bucs. I'm higher on the Bucs. We're gonna
I'm lower on where they're headed.
Oh man, here we go. With all the particulars, just say it. You think they stink? You think they're gonna go 6-11? Fine. You
No,
do that. You be
no,
the Bucks hater or the
no,
Saints fan.
no. That's
which we'll
not what I'm
get-
doing.
wh-
That's not what I'm
which
doing. I'm just telling you that the Bucks, as a Super Bowl winner and a team that was favored to go to Super Bowl last year, and Tom Brady, just like Michael Jordan, we do not measure them the way we measure everybody else. It is
are
Super
the
Bowl.
Buccaneers Super Bowl contenders right now.
No.
Oh my God. Okay. It's like you just were, it was like you were born last night. Have you not seen this? You were probably born at night, but it wasn't last night, Tony. You've seen Tom Brady too. I just, until he's done, like all the way I remember when, him going to the Bucks, this is going to be Jordan with the Wizards. By the way, Jordan was really good with the Wizards. What was around him was trash.
Yeah, he
but
was.
what around him was trash. I watched him go up against Antoine Walker in his prime with the Celtics and just school him on a Sunday. But yeah, anyways, we're going to have to go from old to new because we have to talk about Kenny Pickett, who's starting for the Steelers. We have to talk about retread quarterbacks, including, Tony Wiggins' Super Bowl champion.
Why are you bringing up old stuff?
Saints.
Why are you bringing up
New
old
Orleans Saints. Oh, yeah, you thought I was going to forget. But first, I have to tell you about LinkedIn Jobs because LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job in minutes with LinkedIn. And did I mention it was free? Why wouldn't you do that? And it's going to reach the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. And you can add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're looking for quality people. And small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Maybe the Buccaneers, since they need a quarterback, according to Tony Wiggins, need to check out LinkedIn. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Go there now to post your job for free. Again, linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.
We thank you again for making us your first listen here on Locked On NFL on a Wednesday. A quarterback change in Pittsburgh that most people called for from the very beginning. Mitchell Trubisky was run out there for 4 weeks. They had enough. They inserted Kenny Pickett into the game. I know there's more nuances to a stat line, but when I look up and see 3 picks, I think Mike Tomlin kind of knew what he was talking about. But at some point, Kenny Pickett was going to get that lesson anyway. And a guy that I saw at the Senior Bowl last year, who was the featured player at the Senior Bowl, shout out to that crew down at the Senior Bowl. He's going to get a shot now, and I think he needs to get it. They need to go ahead and see what they have and allow him to go out and play real life football and make his mistakes and earn his lumps the same way Trevor Lawrence and everybody else did, and see how fast that trajectory is for him to get to the point where he can be a starting quarterback and they can get back to playing Pittsburgh Steelers football.
Kenny Pickett should have been the starter from the jump, and we saw it the other day. And look, it's hard when you're preparing as a backup to go in and play like that. And he was at home, and it was against the Jets defense that is certainly beatable. But you saw the flashes from George Pickens. You saw the flashes where he gives Chase Claypool a shot at making a big play. And by the way, hey, Chase, catch the ball. Remember when you were a top 3 receiver? That's the type of thing that you need to see. And so if it's hitting your receivers in the hands, you got to make sure it doesn't get picked. Even if it's a tough catch, and you're right, those throws that were picked, it was like kind of questionable. But you saw the playmaking ability.
Right.
And it gave them a little juice on offense. They don't have any juice right now.
No.
And they have the talent to have plenty. Aaron Rodgers would love those skill players. You want to talk about he would love those dudes. I mean, George Pickens is a freak. Chase Claypool is overrated in his own head, but he's still really talented. And look, Deontay Johnson's awesome. Pat Freiermuth is awesome. Najee Harris is great. And yet he's not putting up the numbers that a lot of people anticipated. So this is the right move. I just I wonder if you, after this move, think that the Steelers are going to be favored over the Buccaneers. No, just kidding. I do think, though, that this Steelers team, this could be the first time that Mike Tomlin and company, they don't get to that 500 or better record. And you're not going to be 500 anymore with 17 games, but do I see them winning 9 this year? No, I think that they're going to take their lumps. Kenny Pickett's going to make his mistakes. He's also going to flash his potential. And by starting him this year, you're putting him and you in position to be extremely competitive next year and to have a shot at getting back to the playoffs. So this isn't necessarily a move that vaults them in the AFC North. I think they're the fourth best team in the AFC North, which is where they're ranked right now. But I think by next year, you could say, oh, Kenny Pickett, he's going to be able to do enough with that defense. He's going to be able to do enough with those weapons to make some waves, even in an AFC North that has Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson at the other quarterback spots.
I can dig that. I think maybe, usually you hear a coach say, well, starting this guy gives us the better chance to win. I think the reason why I was okay with them not starting Kenny Pickett is because I think they have offensive line issues, protection issues, and I think maybe it was for the best interest of their future not to put that kid out there too early to get him hurt. Let him watch it, let him see it for a few, and see if they can steal a couple of games. They lost some very, very close games. And I think now it's like, okay, it's not worth it to sit him over here anymore. We got to get him out there and allow him to figure it out and feel around it. So what this is going to do, you're right, this will put them in a position to pick really, really high next year. And that's somewhere they haven't been, and they draft particularly well. This puts them, if they're anywhere close to Will Anderson territory, because we got to remember, TJ Watt is out. So missing that guy, missing TJ Watt also doesn't allow you to overcome some things that you might overcome in those close games that you win, that you lose. They might be 2-2 right now had he been available, because their defense would have overcome some of their inefficiencies on offense when you lose a guy like that.
The reason they're 1-3 is because of TJ Watt. The one game he played, he was a difference maker against the Bengals week 1. No doubt.
And that's the point. So by being bad now, look what this does. This puts them in another territory somewhere. And I ain't saying they're gonna have the number 1 pick, but they might be number 6 or number 7.
Sure. And I think they would miss out on Anderson there. But yeah, could they be in the top 10? I'd say back end is probably their floor, because they're too well coached. They're going to try really, really hard. They're going to be tough play. They're going to get some wins, regardless, even if Pickett is making mistakes. I mean, they almost, beat the Jets, right? And that sounds weird saying the Steelers almost beat the Jets, but
right.
It was had to jumpstart that offense somehow, and they almost got it done. So,
but this goes to show you with Trubisky. You see him, and you see the two dudes in Carolina,
Baker and Darnold.
Yeah, Baker and Darnold. I got their names mixed up. You see these retread quarterbacks. Mariota's on his third team. Even Tannehill to a certain extent. You see these dudes, man, that used to be first-round picks, and they go to these other clubs, and these clubs are learning a hard lesson. Like, there was a reason why. What are you looking at me like that for? There's a reason why that these dudes didn't make it. And sometimes in here, I know what you're talking about. Sometimes in here, all right, look, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You ain't gonna let me finish my point, but that's I know exactly where you're going when you got that look on your face. That's why I was glad you weren't here for 2 weeks bothering with me. But anyway, look, at some point, no matter what you thought they were, it's here. They can't. What, James? Come on, man.
It's here. And you know what else is here?
What?
Bet Online is here. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about in just a second. How about that? And you're going to want to stay tuned for this, ladies and gentlemen. But first, a word from Bet Online, your number 1 sports for all things sports betting this season. So whether you want to wager on Baker, the touchdown maker, throwing more picks in Carolina, maybe you think the Panthers are going to get the first overall pick. Maybe you think that the Tampa Bay Bucks, that they're done like Tony Wiggins. Or maybe you're all in on a 1-3 team, like a Louisiana team, and you want to wager on them. Tony Wiggins got burned by that. But you could do that and so much more at Bet Online. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, golf, college, and pro football, and more. Bet Online is where the game starts.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On NFL your first listen every day. Make sure you check out NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. Locked On's local experts give you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games of the NFL weekend, including Sunday and Monday Night Football. Plus, betting advice from the field's leading experts, BetOnline. Follow NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts.
All right, time for me to jump all over you now, because you said Carson Wentz, you said Sam Darnold, you said all these retread quarterbacks, you named all of them. You went and you Rolodex and you went back to 1997 to look at guys that were backing up Brett Favre that were former first rounders. You talked about everybody. You might as well just say Christian Ponder. Is he available? You said all these guys. Blake Bortles, a guy who used to come. All these retread quarterbacks that you don't want to take a second shot on. And you know who you didn't mention?
On purpose.
You related to him? You related to Jameis Winston? Because
no, man.
The Saints to go to the Super Bowl. You say they might win the Super Bowl. You talk about how Dennis Allen's learned and this team is just built different, and Jameis is going to figure it out. He had the laser eye surgery, which people have been talking about for 3 years, and look how good he was before he got hurt last year, and all of these things. And I tried to be nice and not say anything after week 1 when they should have lost. And found a way to win. I'll give them credit. Are they or are they not 1-3?
Yeah.
1-3. Oh, how did Jameis? Oh, wait, no, that was he was out, so he was injured. Andy Dalton played okay the other day. It wasn't really Andy's fault that they lost, was it? I mean, I guess he fumbled. You could blame him there. Oh, no.
Look, man, it ain't my job to be throwing you 75-mile-per-hour fastballs. Okay, I purposely didn't mention Jameis. That's why when I was naming retread quarterback, I saw that look on your face. Look, you doing this. You were waiting. You like, he ain't gonna do it. He ain't gonna do it. No, hell no, I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna sit here and throw you a 75-mile-per-hour fastball for you to rip me. All I can tell you about Jameis Winston is this. I quote Mike Tyson. I broke my back. Ain't that dude's back broke in like 2 or 3 places?
Here we go.
I'm just, I gotta have some kind of excuse. You expecting a dude with a broke back to
what? Keep going.
No, man, look.
No, look.
I went out on a limb, man, and you got to give me credit sometimes for saying bold things. I can't be
saying crazy things.
Yeah, I will tell you this though, their defense has not been as good as I thought, and I didn't know Alvin Kamara was going to be standing over there on the sideline either. I didn't.
Oh man, you didn't know the running back was going to be out. Oh,
yeah, one of the best running backs in the league. Hell no, I didn't know he was going to be out.
Mike Thomas, wow, shocker that he got injured. Like what? No, what? Yeah. Don't cry injuries with me.
But the offensive line stinks too. I think so. We'll have to get Ross on that, man. But
by the way, when you lose Teron Armstead, your offensive line isn't as good. Spoiler. Yeah. Yeah, man, Saints fans are gonna hate me. You've made me like this Saints villain just because you were irrational.
You went scorched earth just because you wanted to be wrong with me. And you taking your earth. I'm gonna tell you taking your lead from that Aaron Freeman from Locked On Falcons, because he was the first one, and Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers, because they were the first 2 people and they got you all gassed up, and you come on here with all this popcorn muscles, and you want to bully me about a dude with a broke back. So my thing.
You want to talk about popcorn muscles? I will fly down to Jacksonville right now, Mr. Popcorn Muscles, and we'll see who has popcorn muscles.
I got you.
Now
we know you go to the gym. We know you go to the gym.
I'll work out with the Jaguars. And you know what? We'll do.
I ain't mean your real muscles. I meant all of this internet courage. But we know you work out, man.
I was just gonna say, me and Trevor Lawrence could do hand workouts, and we could see which one could hold on to the ball.
There you go. See, you still at it. You 2 weeks away from me. You can't help but take a swing. But that's all right, man. What the power rankings say right now?
Well, let's start with the Saints. They're way too high. They're still 21st, which is in the second column. Like how I started with the 21st place team. All right. First is the Eagles, the lone undefeated team in the NFL. Makes a ton of sense. Followed by the Bills, Chiefs, Packers, and Ravens, rounding out the top 5. And we'll go through the top 10 here. The Bengals moving up from 10 to 6. The Chargers from 9 to 7. The Bucks falling a spot to number 8. The 49ers moving up to 9. And the Minnesota Vikings rounding out the top 10.
I'm not sold on Minnesota yet, but because I'm not sold on Kirk Cousins, but I will admit I had no idea their defense was going to be that good. They really fly. They fly around the football field, and they play extremely hard on defense. And of course, the receiver is one of the best in the league. Justin Jefferson is one of the best in the NFL. No other real problems with the top 10. I still think people are the Bengals. The Bengals deserve to be where they are because I think they've kind of gotten it right and they figured some stuff out. The Chargers, though, man, I mean, I saw the Jaguars just totally take them apart, and I'm just not sure that they deserve to be that high at this point. But who do you put up there? I'm shocked that Miami's all the way down to 11th because of one injury. They were undefeated last week. They had been playing really, really well, and I'm a little bit shocked that they're that low. I'll read the 11 through 20. Dolphins at 11. Rams are at 12. I'm really worried about them. Cowboys at 13. Good defense. Cooper Rush is better than I thought. The Cardinals are at 14th. The Jaguars are 15th, still in the top half, right ahead of the Titans. That's setting up to be the two teams that's probably going to battle it out for the AFC South. 17 with the Broncos. They've been a huge disappointment. 18 for the Falcons. That's a good look for Arthur Smith. 19, Cleveland. 20, the Giants. There you go. That's the second group of 10. The Giants aren't getting any respect, but they're not going to get respect based on their record. They have to play, they have to actually look better than they have.
Yeah, and they've beat some bad teams. And so we'll see. We'll see. They could prove it. Who knows? Justina Anderson reporting Odell Beckham Jr. visiting the Giants at MetLife at their facilities. That's a little odd, a little weird. Landon Collins working out for them. What are they going to, run it back with OBJ? That would be weird.
Just bring the whole squad back, huh?
I mean,
that's what it's looking like.
Eli might be the best They might have to call Eli to play quarterback.
Right.
Who knows with Daniel Jones and everything going on there. Look, I think the Falcons are one of the big surprises. The fact that they handled themselves as well as they did it against Cleveland, even though they didn't have Myles Garrett for the Browns. I thought that was good. But to me, of this group that you just named, the Cowboys. Oh, your Cowboys. Not really. It's your Saints now. The Cowboys, man, just finding ways to win games. And if I would have told you when Dak went down, they'd go 3-0, you'd have laughed at me. I'd have laughed at myself, and everyone would have laughed. And yet here we go. They're 3-1. So
getting Michael Gallup back helps a lot.
No doubt.
Offense. It does. Yep. And they've been able to hold the fort down on the offensive line, even with Smith's injury. So that's good. Let's run on through them, man. The Saints 21, and we're in trouble with our early season prediction.
You are in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm spot on.
Right. Okay. Raiders 22, Patriots 23. Seahawks are 24. I think that's another team that surprises me. That's not an easy game for anybody. Neither is the Lions, who are sitting at 25, eating up kneecaps. 26, the Colts.
Biggest disappointment in the NFL. Keep going.
I do think so. The Jets are 27, still the Jets to a certain extent. Pittsburgh is 28. I never thought I'd see the Pittsburgh Steelers be the 28th team in a power ranking four games in. The Bears are 29th. They got a winning record, but they're 2-2, right?
2-2.
That might be the worst 2-2 team I've ever seen, to be honest. Then we'll go with the Commanders at 30. They're already passing around Carson Wentz, garbage, trash.
Let's go Commanders.
Yeah, right. Means the Panthers are 31st. I think Matt Rule's going to be the first one to get fired. And he sounds like a guy who's going to get fired, too, when you listen to him talk. And then the Houston Texans, John Hickman and Cody Davis, all that trash they talk to me, they are 32nd in the NFL and are considered the worst team in the National Football League. So,
yeah, those final three teams, I'll say final four. And you could add a team in there or two. The Colts, who knows? If they lose another, if they lose on Thursday night, maybe you mentioned that, which I was not going to anticipate. But it's the C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young sweepstakes.
That's
right.
Like.
It's all right. Which teams can get them? And of those teams, there's all positive. I mean, because if you're the Panthers, you're not giving a brand new quarterback to Matt Rule. You've already given him 8 different quarterbacks, right? Ron Rivera, is he in danger? I don't know. Chicago, are they committed to Justin Fields? That's a new regime there. And I'm not saying it's his fault. Sometimes it's weird. And then there's your next retread quarterback, that could be, are you passing up CJ Stroud to keep Justin Fields going into year 3? I don't know.
And the Commanders, I looked last night at the 2023 salary cap. Wentz is on their books for $26 million. It ain't like you're going to find somebody else to trade him
to.
There's $20 million in dead space. So that means it must be guaranteed because they didn't pay him a bonus. They didn't.
So if they relieve $20 million on the books, regardless,
it's $20 million on the books, regardless. I think they saved $6 million from a roster bonus. They still have $20 million on their books. It might still be worth it if you don't think he's going to be it. Go ahead and save the 6. Teams don't like cutting guys or getting rid of people that they're still paying that kind of money. But it doesn't matter if you're going to draft one of those young quarterbacks. It doesn't matter what you're paying them. You got to get him out of there. But knowing them, they're going to draft Will Anderson because they draft everybody from Alabama's defense. They do that all the time. It's been fun, brother.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Will Anderson is a freak. So is he's a bad man, and your bad prediction of the Saints is something I'm not going to let you live down. We'll see if that switches. You wanted to bury Brady because he's old, but you know what? It's October. You know what happens? The dead comes to life on Halloween, so you never know. I think that the Buccaneers are going to be just fine. We'll see.
All right, Peacock and Williams, an NFL show, is on the Locked On Podcast Network as well, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check it out, like and subscribe, because the Locked On, the Peacock and Williamson NFL show. Brian Peacock is great at what he does with the Locked On 49ers, and Matt Williamson is superb as a former NFL scout. They give it to you like you can't get it anywhere else. So make sure you like and subscribe to Peacock and Williamson NFL show.
And until next week, for Tony Wiggins, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now. Thank you so much for listening to Locked On NFL.